Hi guys, how are you all? Tatalia here today will walk you through all 5 endings of Kaveh's Hangout event. Let's go!
So this is a day in the life of... All right, let's get...
I've taken a look at your proposal. It's much better than the ones...
Oh, come on, not again.
It's a bit hard to put into words.
I have to say, that's a terribly vague and unconvincing explanation. Please and...
For starters, don't you think this roof is jutting... This door, too. I don't think it needs to be nearly this large. If...
The roof and the door are the even if the soul of the building won't be lost, all traces of architectural style would be gone. Anyone with the slightest inkling...
Oh, I understand the principles of what you are saying, of course, but the truth remains that I'm still a bit unhappy with the design... Oh, actually, I just got an idea. Can we get rid of all the extraneous sections? Don't architects often say that symmetry makes everything more balanced and pleasing to the...
I really don't know how you managed to come up with such a ridiculous idea. Wait, don't tell me. Anyway, that's it. I will not be working on this commission anymore. Goodbye.
Hey, young man!
Taking this commission was truly the worst decision. Oh, actually, while we're on that, what are you doing here at the tavern? Don't listen to anyone who says that drinking is an elegant pastime. So you saw all that, did you? Anyway, thanks for looking out for me. Stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine in a glass of juice?
I know you're already keeping a secret from me, but if you could add this one to the list as well, I'd really appreciate it. Arguing with that guy, though. What was he even going on about? All those ridiculous... Another glass, please, boss. I'm not leaving.
You've got it, sir. I gotta say, though...
It really is every other day that you'd run into a client who knows nothing about construction requirements or architectural style. But perhaps getting used to this just means that I've grown numb to it. I've worked on so many projects. I would spend a lot of time altering my designs, and by the time the clients were finally satisfied, all my passion and enthusiasm would be gone. I suppose, though, that just sticking to your guns and completely disregarding other people's feedback, all of this makes for a real paradox, one that particularly crops up in my work, too. In the end, what is...
Here's your drink. How are you already spouting nonsense after...
Boss?
The meaning of art? Really? Anyway, I don't know about art, but I do know that I'm interested in business, and some patrons are waiting to be served. So, you'll have to excuse me.
What do you think? Yes, art shouldn't be Let's say that I built a house for someone. If they don't like how it looks, the problem is that it can be very difficult to get validated by others. I could compromise my personal standards. Thanks for offering, but he understands nothing about my design. And all the suggestions he made were as if he just wanted to... You mean, if I managed to get him to see things my... You've got time to get going. I know where we'd be... There's no time to waste. The wine can wait until another...
Kaveh.
I've changed my mind.
My apologies as well. Now that I think, if I choose you to create the design for my project...
Thank you for understanding. Mutual trust is the basis for good to be perfectly honest. Your commission, even now, I still know nothing about the building's intended purpose. All I know, I am aware that overly specific requests will restrain the architect's artistic freedom. However, knowing nothing about I've produced several draft proposals for you to choose from, and you've rejected every single one. If we don't get on this...
Yes, I've given this some thought already. I think it's just... Putting the building design aside, can we get some... the timber here as well?
Please give me a moment. So, let me get this straight. You want to reduce the cost of the architectural design cannot be neatly split into discrete parts. Any change to one part of the design will affect the quality of the whole thing. I decided to use... Same with the tiles. Switch them out and the entire mural will have to be redesigned. More importantly, if all you need is a building with a roof that can keep people dry in the rain, you shouldn't have commissioned me. Many architects would be able to build you one of those while...
Actually,
I think the most important thing for me is to understand what you would actually like to get. If you could tell me more about your vision,
I want to build something unique. I want all who enter this building to be able to
That's a bit more information than last time, but it's still extremely vague. We've gone through many proposals, and this draft is already the cheapest one. Cutting costs by substituting building materials will not only
Thank you for giving it so much thought. Please, give me... I still have a few business meetings that I must attend, so I'm afraid I'll have to leave for now. You can just leave...
I also have a similar feeling. Is that really okay? He does seem really suspicious, though. He dresses... That's actually pretty common. Not all rich people are spendthrifts. Many are... The more mora some people have, the more they love interfering with people's lives. Like constantly reminding you to pay back your debts. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not even sure this person really wants to work on this project with me. But who knows how long construction will take if he keeps delaying things like this. We should find him again and get some clearer answers. The sooner... Huh? Where did he go? I could have sworn he went this way. Oh, hey, look! Isn't that Badawi?
Didn't I tell you before? I'm not looking. Plus, aren't you a bit old for...
Oh, you won't have to worry about that. I grew up as an Eremite mercenary and worked... I don't have many talents, but I still have my muscle. If you need...
You used to be an...
I know there are a lot of bad apples in our ranks, but most are just trying to make a living.
I'm sorry, but I still can't take you in. I don't have any open positions right now, and don't have the mora for anything more.
Okay.
He used to be a member of the Eremites? Huh. We meet at...
Huh?
That's what we wanted to ask you. Who are you? Why did... There's no need for us to continue this project if you still want to keep hiding things.
Believe me, I didn't have... All right, there's no point hiding anything anymore. The building I'm trying to...
A library? Funded entirely by... I've heard that the academia will be looking to prioritize the desert with the allocation of educational resources and materials.
You're right. And I was aware of these happenings as well. The desert is too vast. Even if the academia spends a lot of effort trying to disseminate knowledge in those parts, it might... And what's more, I don't know if all I know is that as a desert dweller, we should not wait passively for good things to happen to us. I don't have much longer left on this world. So I just want to use whatever time I have to contribute. I didn't want you to know that I came from the desert. I've lived in the desert my entire life, and there wasn't anyone.
To the point that you even disguised your identity? That's certainly taking playing it safe.
When I first came to Sumeru's city, someone agreed to take on the project, and even took us some. After that, I heard that there are a lot of untrustworthy people in this business. Some would run as soon as they've been paid. I spent a while collecting information in the city, and eventually learned that you're the most famous architect in all of Sumeru. By the way, how did you know I was scared?
Just a hunch. A while ago, I accepted an offer to work on a project. I ran into someone who was living in a pretty run-down house. I noticed a load-bearing wall on the... He said that he had no way to pay for it, so I loaned him some of my own mora, and told him to get some stone and timber from the local vendors. Soon after that, after that, he even borrowed mora from me twice more, using a different excuse each time. I didn't even suspect him of any... According to him, I looked like an easy target because I was an academia scholar who didn't have any family or friends in the desert.
Those kinds of things do happen every once in a while, yes. Folks like him are the exact...
It's all right. You were also scammed by someone from... Ultimately, neither of our experiences had anything to do with the desert or the rainforest. People who are new... Yeah, you'll find both good and bad people everywhere. I can't understand the logic of those who like to... Anyway, I digress. Let's return to the topic at hand. Did you keep rejecting my designs
That's what I was afraid of initially, yes. I eventually understood that I've done the math and know that we should be able to make it if we cut some corners. However, after our So, I decided to try and see if I can afford your proposal as is. I've been looking for...
By cobbled together, you mean you're going to spend your entire life savings on this project?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, when you've lived to be all I want is to build this library before I leave this world, so that the children of the future would have some books to read. And a while ago, I heard that the academia had decided to recruit a number of exceptional children from the desert. I know the desert life, and can predict what the problems will be. Many children from the desert have had neither the interest nor the So even if the academia would take them in, once they enter the halls, they might find themselves surrounded by other children.
Yes, my father passed away at an early age. Even though I had a good number of friends during my years at the... I'm sure a child coming all the way from the desert will have an even hard... But let's bring this back to the building itself. I think you said that you want this building to be quiet and warm, with its doors serving as a solid barrier to block out the sound and fear. Building it according to the current plan will be quite costly, even if I don't charge you any commission. Sponsor the project? You mean convince wealthy... That does make sense. A library is a big... What do you think? If we can find others to sponsor the project, we could potentially...
It's all fine with me, but...
Well, you're right. If I really think about it... Her? Hard pass! With her shrewd and greedy personality... now there's an idea. She probably won't say no if... Let's go and pay her a visit.
Now here is some When I saw Kaveh, I almost thought it must be that time of month again. Sadly for me...
Hey, can't you think of something else for a change? You are literally living... What is the point of wealth, anyway? Is your happiness entirely...
That's exactly right! Mora is extremely valuable, you see. If you don't keep your mind up, if you ask me, this place is still way too empty. Just give me some time and...
You're hopeless.
Oh, so you have an actual reason to visit me? Alright, merchants. Oh, I see. So you're just...
I knew you wouldn't be interested in something like this. Still, you wouldn't...
Sure, I can connect you with some folks, but with...
A fee?
Of course! Making introductions means using my connections and putting my reputation. Since we've known each other for so long, though, I'll give you a huge returning cut.
500,000? I guess that's okay. Besides, by helping us out, you'd be doing a great service to the public. Can't you take your mind off your...
3 of my business partners came by earlier today to discuss some things with me, and they still haven't left yet. I'll arrange a meeting for you, just so we...
Thank you.
You can wait here.
Dory gave us a brief introduction about the two of you. You are Kaveh, the renowned. To be frank, I don't feel like there's an obvious business opportunity here.
All right, here's the situation. I've been commissioned to build a library in the desert with the intended goal...
So it's...
Correct.
Then the commission fees will likely be very...
I'm not too concerned about how much I'll get for the commission fees, actually. I'm fine with doing it for free.
So what? You can't... Besides, what does a library in the desert have to do with us?
Hey, there's no need to be so harsh. They are Dory's associates, after all. Here, can you tell us a bit more about what we can gain from sponsoring this project? So we'd mostly be doing it for
Well, just speaking for myself.
I also have a concern. It feels like there's not much to profit from in the short term, but...
Then how about this? What if, instead of building a single library...
Wouldn't that just...
Yes, but in that case...
I'll just give an example. If we were to build a library and a school near a whole suite of buildings will be able to host more traffic, and thus drive the economic development of the entire area. I've been to the desert several times. Although there are still many lingering tensions between the two regions, the amount of interaction has been...
Education in the desert is indeed an industry that has not been tapped into. If we can be the...
And you just believe anything?
Even the greenest amateurs know that urban planning will affect population flow. If you don't believe me, you can ask anyone on the street.
You...
Wait, something just occurred to me. If we're going to build a... But it seems we're not the only ones with our eyes on the village. I heard a rumor a while back saying
What?
What?
In other words, if we try to join if we want to build a suite of buildings focused on education and culture, Aru Village is the prime location.
Then there's no hurry. We can wait for Aru Village to develop more first and get into the market for expansion to other areas.
But...
Is there nothing else to discuss? Great timing! I pretty much heard all I want to hear. If there are no...
I'll be off as well. If you have any new ideas...
It seems like the others are not interested in funding this, so no point in me
Hey! Well, what can I say? I guess it went somewhat as expected. They are Dory's friends. Yeah, it's just another day doing business with people. But I can never get used to that. Looks like we'll have to figure out some other way to get the funding.
How did the meeting go? Want to talk about it? Oh, where did all that passion go from earlier, I take it you weren't...
Please don't tell me that...
What kind of person do you take me for? With the kind and generous Lord Sangama Bay? Really, you can try to talk up the project all you want, but the facts will remain the same. This project...
But this isn't just a bit... Also, if you already knew no one would want to partner with us, why did you still try to charge...
You might want to remember who you're...
I'll pay back every last coin that I still owe you, but...
Alright, since you're so devastated about this, I'll set you up for dinner. In fact, I'll be inviting the most famous merchant in all of Sumeru.
What?
Follow me. Oh, this is the place.
You said you're going to introduce us to the most famous merchant in...
You still don't get it, huh?
Huh? So you meant yourself all along?
Well, I've given it some thought, and that complex, it'll be a pretty big Mora sink, and I'll have to fund it all on my own.
Seriously? Where's this generosity coming from so...
The reasons are not important. However, you know just as well as me that once this project actually breaks ground, it'll...
I get it. I won't charge any commission.
Splendid! Then let's sign the contract.
This way, the children of the desert will have some books to read. Of course, there are a few things better than using mine. I must thank you as well, Dory. I used to say you only cared about Mora, which might have been... Now, let's have a quick discussion. Where would you want the library to be built?
There's no rush. I'll provide you with a copy of the deed when we get back.
Huh? The deed? So hold on a sec. The person who has been buying...
Oh my, did I not tell you about that? Yep, yours truly has been buying up all the land. I must thank you for bringing... So, from my perspective, this has been a great turn of events.
But what about my commission?
Huh? Didn't you waive those yourself? I was just gonna say that to cut costs. We mustn't procrastinate and But before I could finish my sentence, you volunteered to waive your commission fees, and even...
It's obvious that you used every trick in the book to deceive me. You deliberately paused for a long time while talking about the...
Huh? You really think so? Well, the contract's already been signed, so...
Fine. I'll drop the argument on the... I'm going to order the best dishes and booze this place has to offer, and lots of...
I wonder if I'll ever be able to create something.
We meet a...
Huh?
That's what we wanted to ask you. Who are you? There's no need for...
Believe me.
A library? I've heard that the...
You're right. The desert is too vast. And what's more, all I know is that I don't have much longer left on this world. So I just want to use whatever... I didn't want you to know that I...
To the point that you even just...
When I first... Someone agreed. After that, I spent a while... Either way...
I ran into someone. He said that he had... And after that, according to him...
Those kinds of...
It's ultimately neither of our experience... Yeah, Anyway,
That's what I was... I've done the math, so... To be honest, all I want is to build this lot. A while ago, I know that... So even if the...
Yes, I can... My father, I'm sure a child, but let's bring the... Building it A slightly different style. Most architects would probably prioritize cutting costs and removing extra features in this situation. Indeed, converting the... While it's true that the aesthetic value of a building is often viewed as an afterthought, neglecting it has some long-term negative consequences. It is to completely give up on the more aesthetic design would mean stripping the children of an opportunity to appreciate the beauty of architecture. However, if we can reduce the ornate aspects of the design while maintaining its fundamental elegance, which is to make up for the loss of regular details, we would need to put a lot...
I see.
It just increases the difficulty of the design. You should feel lucky that out of all the As for inspiration, I think I might have something in mind. But
Aru Village. Although it wasn't much.
Okay, then we can pay a visit to Aru.
Is there something I can do for you? I've already caused you a lot of trouble before, and now you're...
Let me think. You said you used to be an Eremite mercenary, right? In that case, we want to keep the roads clear, and reduce the loss of materials during transport to a minimum.
All right, just leave it to me.
What are you waiting for, then? Let's... Most materials going from Caravan Rebat to Aru Village. There are a lot of monsters out here today. If you...
Oh, don't worry about me. This is nothing.
Come at me! Take...
Time for takeoff. Whirling snow.
I'm fine. I've spent my entire life, but it's one thing to fight against monsters, and another to fight against an old injury. It's something I picked up when I was young. I don't think much of it back then, but few mercenaries get to enjoy their later years. Failing health tends to take the joy.
Is there someone you know who can help to look at...
Unfortunately, no. Sometimes I'd close my eyes and realize most of my life story has already been written. I joined the Eremites when I was young, and won many, if at all possible. I want future children of the desert to have... My apologies. The older we get, the more we tend to...
I think it's really admirable of him to spend his whole... Maybe he's doing this out of natural kindness. A kindness that hasn't been eroded away by the struggles of it. Perhaps. Some people call me an idealist. I do have some sentiment, but my situation is more complex than that. In the beginning, when I was young, I impulsively encouraged my father to take part in the... He set off confidently hoping to win something for me, but failed to clinch the title. What's more, he fell into depression. I never saw him again. Word has it that he got caught in quicksand. I started doing many things in life because I wanted to make amends. Even in cases where I couldn't do something for a specific person, I still... At this point, I've tried self-reflection, but it didn't help. I can't seem to walk away from many things that I see or hear about. Maybe it's just like what those Vahumana scholars often say. I could be doing things out of endless guilt, or I could be doing them out of a strong sense of empathy. It could even just be a matter of conceit. Anyway, I suppose I don't really mind being called an idealist. They also use that term to describe my father. I've known Alhaitham for many years now, and discussed my ideology with him for nearly as long. He told me a long time ago that no matter how strong of a swimmer you may be, you'll still get dragged under by the others who are drowning once you run out of stamina. He believes this. I still believe I should live by my ideals, and I've given him countless reasons why I think it's a good idea to do so. Unfortunately, he remains unconvinced. His personality is the exact opposite of my own. If someone happened, as you can see, I'm not the only idealist in the world. Just as there are different seasons, there are also different... And when I finally run out of stamina, someone will help me. But you've helped me plenty already. If you didn't reach out to me, I would probably be passed out on the tavern. Either way, I'm feeling much better than when you first found me at the tavern. I can feel inspiration already welling up inside. All right, Now that we're here, it's my partner's time to shine.
Oh,
My toolbox. I built it using an ancient mechanical core. It's not. I'll take Marak and find a suitable location for the building. Once that...
Traveler?
Ah, you know...
Hello. I suppose you must be Kaveh from Kasharawar. I have heard of you before. my name...
Educational Assistance Program.
I can't say I'm too familiar, just...
I've been commissioned by Mr. Badawi to build a library in the desert. We've settled on the general design direction, but we are trying to finalize some details.
A library?
That's right. I want to make sure that...
That's fantastic! I'm sure the children will be thrilled. Right now, we don't have access to many...
Let me get straight to my questions, then. Can you estimate the number of children around here who'd be interested in reading? Besides the usual noise. Oh, and have any landslides occurred here recently? And also... All right, Badawi, let's go over the budget again. We'll keep the building structure the same, but make the place a little bigger. The parts of the project that cost the most will be the insulation and ventilation materials. I'm sure you understand. I want to make significant changes to the arrangement of the bookshelves, tables, and chairs. I'll go over the specifics of that shortly. I have 2 plans in mind. Both are pretty minimalist, and our final cost should be around 70% of the last figure I quoted. The whole thing... Marak has produced a sketch for all of you to see. If everyone's okay with it, then we'll proceed with that. The inspiration just came to me naturally. I must give you credit, though. If it weren't for your advice and suggestions, according to the traditions of my profession, I should probably... In the meantime, let's look forward to the day when this building is completed and...
A blade is like a teeth.
Taking this commission was truly the worst decision. Actually, while we're on that, what are you doing here at the tavern? Stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine in a glass.
I know you're already keeping us. That guy, though. Another glass.
You've got it.
It really is. But perhaps getting... I would spend a lot... I suppose, though, all of this make...
Here's your drink.
Boss?
The meaning of... Anyway, I don't...
What do you think? Exactly. So our thoughts on the in Sumeru, and especially Sumeru of the past, the arts are not a popular discussion. It's too bad that I'm not in my best form today. Sounds great to me. I don't even want to think about this project anymore. Huh? Where did that I mean, it's not like it's some kind of secret. My mother is also an architect. I've always adored her drawings, and when I was young, I used to sit next to her and watch her bring all kinds of... Perhaps. In fact, I have also seen my mother argue with her. Unfortunately, I've barely had any contact with her since she remarried and moved abroad. Even if I wanted to ask her about her ability... I did remember something else, though. When my mother left, she only carried... At the time, she even told me that it would be great if I could learn a few lessons from her life experiences. I hadn't quite come to grips with my emotions, and didn't really have it in me to go through any sentimental items. It's been a really long time. Now that so many years have passed, maybe I have finally developed the maturity I need to face those memories. Speaking of that, either way, thanks for reminding me that I can invite you to come along. Had I just gone back by myself, thinking too hard about the words is giving me a headache, so I'll just give it to you straight. If you want to stick around and see how this will turn out, you'll be sure to encounter some bits and... All right, then let's head back to... Who knew that the day would come when Let me see. I should have tidied up the place before I left the house this morning. Alhaitham shouldn't be. Anyway, there's no more time for drinks. Alhaitham isn't in, so feel free to sit wherever. Oh, nothing. I just didn't realize how much time had passed. The box is... I'm happy for her. I hope she'll be able to find happiness there. Anyway, enough about that. Let's see what I packed into this box. What are all these things? Oh, obviously I wouldn't call it anything special now, but I was less than 5 years old when I made this drawing. That's more than 20 years ago. Now that I've said that out loud, I suppose I do have some level of artistic talent, right? Criticism and self-doubt have always been a part of the artistic process. Without criticism, I admit that I may have spent a little too long questioning myself this time around. Anyway, never mind. The more I talk about it... my building blocks! It's been years since I've last seen these. When I was a kid, I used to stack them. Oh, and this blueprint. I made it by copying my mother's sketch. I was super proud of myself when I finished it, and put it in the same pile as my mother. Unfortunately, my mother didn't realize that I had put it there. When she had a meeting with a client the next day, she handed my blueprint to him by mistake. It was only a few days later that he finally gathered up the courage to pay my mother a visit. He asked, "The door in this blueprint is even taller than the roof." My mother took me with her to personally apologize. She didn't scold me about it in private, though. Instead, she went over all the steps required to draw a good blueprint. Let's see, is there anything else left in this box? This is my mother's notebook. When I was a child, I used to be super fascinated by this notebook, and always pestered my mother to let me read it. After asking her a few times, wonder why she didn't take this notebook with her. If only I could. I never managed to guess the password. Hey, it's not a matter of time, it's a matter of inspiration. Who knows? Maybe this time something will click in my head, and the answer will just present itself. I could tell what you were thinking. Don't worry, I've tried my name, my father's name, my mother's name, my grandparents' names on both sides, and I've even tried stuff like Love You Kaveh, Take Care, and Yours Truly. I've tried every cheesy... I wouldn't try that route again. I have a hunch that it won't be that simple. Also, if she really did use something like... So we could find someone who was close to my mother and see if they might know anything? My mother was never really the one to be social. My father was the one with more... Let me think. Is there still someone at the academia who would know my mother? You've never really heard of her? She's a famous Gasharwar scholar and leading expert in formal garden design. Professor Zaha Hadid published many works during her career, so I was able to learn a lot by studying her essays. She's older now and is no longer teaching at the academia. But if I remember, let's go take a look. We might run into her.
What am I...
Tainari.
Oh, it's you. I came into the city to buy some experiment reagents, but as soon as I got here, I noticed someone banging on Cyrus's door. I was thinking about going over to ask what's happening. That granny over there may appear old and frail.
Granny?
Yeah, she's just over there. You can go
I had a quick drink or two.
drinking in broad daylight. Really? You want to pass out? And you, traveler? You didn't try to stop him? You look like a wreck, Kaveh. You know what? I'm hosting a meal at
Huh? Oh, I had no idea.
All right. Then I'll be heading back to Gandharvaville for now. I have a feeling that argument over there is going to continue for quite...
A granny who lives near...
Ha! So, plan on keeping yourself locked in there, huh? My tomato was growing so well. It had all...
I already told you I had nothing to do with it. You'd have to be awfully green as an investigator to You see, the word green here can refer to both the color of...
Enough nonsense! Just...
You're out of your mind. If I've actually done something wrong...
Oh, why?
Professors...
And who are you? How long has it been? Come on, get over here. It's no big deal, really. A few of us old scholars got bored in our retirement and decided to put together a vegetable grow, which brings us to our current predicament. My tomato was...
Hey, don't try to defame me in front of the kids. If we're airing out each other's dirty laundry now...
Lucky for you, seeing these youngsters come to pay their respect. Come on, let's go. We'll take our conversation...
yes.
Is Faranak...
Yes, as far as I know. She left for Fontaine some time ago and started a new...
Ah, yes.
No, not at all. She's already...
That's good to hear. Your mother did struggle quite a bit, though. Sometimes I wonder if things were harder for her because she was so beautiful. People were always... She was still quite young when she first joined my class as a student. Beautiful and radiant with her golden hair, yet quiet. She had to make a lot of drastic change. Even during her time in the academia, she was a thorough perfectionist. If she had many admirers, and they'd always fill up the first few rows of seats, hoping they could get closer to her sit. But
I'm sure she had many difficult moments in her life.
I'm not too sure. She never... I do remember one time, though, when she got into a heated argument with... She said, "True art cannot be understood." If you ask me, that's probably the greatest source of pain for geniuses of their craft.
So that's how it is. I wonder if the password could be... I tried both.
What are you trying to...
My mother left her notebook to me, but it has a password, and I haven't figured out what it is yet. I'm trying to learn more about her, so I'd have...
It's the least I can do. Talking to youngsters like yourself makes me feel younger, too. Your personalities are quite alike, too. You're both stubborn and both a little awkward. Of course, I'm sure the similarity... I've taught a lot of students over my career, and they would know exactly what they want to express and fight for it tooth and nail. Which some clients would choose to respect the architect's vision or just let the argument. When Faranak first graduated, she was getting into arguments with her clients nearly every single day.
I see, but...
No, I think they were probably beyond him, too. But despite Faranak had many admirers, but she ended up choosing...
So instead of understanding, perhaps all we need...
Oh...
Yes!
Then you should be on your way, child. Find a quiet being the awkward person that she is. I suppose there were many things that Faranak could never say out loud. If you're ever in a mood to chat again, just come and find me here.
Thank you so much.
There's no need to be so formal.
I wonder what my mother could have written about.
They all say Zaha Hadid's class is the toughest, but I think it's actually not too bad. On the other hand, though, structural mechanics... I met someone special. At first, I didn't think much of it. We decided to name our son Kaveh. I don't think a younger me would have ever imagined forming such an intimate... The bad news came. And even though it's been several days now, I still... But I have to face reality.
Huh? Is this a drawing? Seems like it was done by my mother. This blonde man was probably my father, but who are the other people in the picture? Huh? From the dates in the notebook, she probably drew... Maybe we were thinking too much. Oh!
The one who invited us to the gathering is a talkative woman. Including us, the talkative woman introduced everyone to each other. She spoke really quickly, so I couldn't quite catch everything she... My husband seems to be friends with the man with long ears. I couldn't really join their conversation. I don't think I'd be able to become friends with any of these people. That man is certainly very handsome, but he would constantly alternate between disjoint. We were not acquainted with each other to begin with, and I doubt we'll see each other again after this gathering. The ambiance of this gathering is surprisingly pleasant, however. Maybe my son will also partake in these gatherings in the future. I hope he'll be able...
Who would have thought my mother used to attend that kind of thing? It seemed she was only good at talking about her own work, and found it difficult to join into other conversations. There's more written on the back. Oh.
Kaveh. I was both overjoyed and distressed. You are very talented, and I am confident that you will become an architect of much acclaim. No one will be able to help you during your journey as an artist. But outside of your life as a creator, whenever you feel down, seek out a friend to sit and have a chat. You can accumulate joy and fulfillment by spending time with them.
So that's the answer she prepared for me. Well, now that I've read her words, do you think I should accept Tainari's invite? Although it'd be nice to get together with friends and chat the night away. Besides, don't most people hate the feeling of seeing their friends troubled and being unable to help? And don't forget, I'm also older than all of them. You're not wrong, but I keep feeling like I haven't... Wait, do you mean it? I've gotten so used to sarcasm that I can't tell what's genuinely a compliment. You know what? I'm not going to overthink it.
Alhaitham also got my invite, right?
That guy? He's never been a fan of social gatherings.
Are you sure?
Yeah, let's go. I mean, maybe we should give him a little more... Oh, you still haven't told me. What's the occasion for getting us together?
We're celebrating the end of the first phase of Kale's studies. I wanted to...
Then where's Kale?
She said she wanted to show everyone a bit of what she's learned, so she's still doing some last-minute... Anyway, let's get started. To tell you the truth, the curriculum will become a lot more involved, and I'm worried that she won't be able to get through all of it. I was hoping we could
I knew this wouldn't be just a simple free dinner.
Yes, I thought it would be good if we could all put our heads together. Anyway, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. What did you guys do when you ran into a problem that you didn't know how to solve?
Never happened to...
I'd just pull another...
You two are hopeless. Does anyone have a more useful answer to the question?
Ooh, that's a good point. Confidence is the most important thing. Once you lose your sense...
This could be a potential direction. I have already redesigned the literacy curriculum.
It's very simple. Instead of focusing on the amount of material you would like to teach, focus on the amount.
Wow, you actually showed up. I could probably count the number of.
It's still more than the number of times you've managed to get a proposal.
As long as you're still aware. So, what made the difference this time? Are you looking to.
That's your purpose for being here, not mine.
So you're saying the only reason you came is to help tighten.
Precisely. Kaveh will.
Hey, just to get one thing clear. Even if Kaveh manages to make her way to the academia, we cannot let her enroll in her avatat.
What are you saying? Spontamad is the better choice.
Then what about Amorta? That's the Darshan her.
There are only 2 other Darshans left. We might as well.
I'm Traveler, you aren't associated with any of the 6 Darshans. In your opinion.
Well said.
Agreed. And my goal in inviting you here was to get.
Phase 2 far exceeds Phase 1 in both curriculum complexity and the speed of instruction. I hope Kaveh has prepared herself for what is coming.
Hey, what are you thinking now? Please don't tell me you're planning on lending her those
Actually, I was thinking about lending her a professions guide.
I'll make sure to write, "Don't become an architect," on the front page of that.
Is there another phase after Phase 2? What's the ultimate goal of all of this?
We don't need to think that far ahead.
I'm telling you, that client had no idea what he was talking.
Have you considered finding another client?
They're all the same. I haven't had a good night's sleep for months now.
It's too late now to change careers. Besides, you'll be getting up in the middle of the night to make edits to your own.
No!
Cheer up, Kaveh.
We'll save that for the end, Sino.
What?
So this is a day in the life.
Alhaitham isn't in, so. Oh, nothing. I just didn't realize how much time had passed. I'm happy for her. Anyway, enough about that. Let's see what I packed into this box. What are all these things? Oh, obviously I wouldn't. Now that I've said that out loud, I suppose I do have criticism and self-doubt. I admit that I may. Anyway, my building. Oh, I was super proud of my. Unfortunately, it was only a few days later that my mother took me with her to. She didn't scold me about it. Let's see. Is there anything else left in this box? This is my mother's. When I was a child, I used. Wonder why. If only I could. Hey, it's not a matter of time. Who knows? Maybe this time something will click in my head, and the answer will just. I could tell what you were thinking. I've tried my name. I've even tried stuff. I wouldn't try that route again. Yeah, you're right. Although I was hoping to find some words of wisdom from my mother, everyone's life journey is different. Traveler, you've visited many lands and met many people. I just got an idea, though. If I want to rekindle the creative passion that I had before, what do you think? I'm glad you agree. Then let's start. Of all the places in the academia, I remember this one most. When my studies got busy, who doesn't miss their time at the academia? I created many designs that I thought were beautiful in the House of Dana. I drew whatever came to mind, since I didn't have to care about budget constraints or turning... if I had to give a reason... The academia also had a rule that allowed scholars to annotate any physical books they came across. As a result, the books here are chock full... Oh, here, this is a great example. This book, History of Ancient Sumeru Architecture, contains some analysis that I did many years ago. Huh? Why is Alhatham's handwriting also in here? When did he ever read this book? I guess it's probably from when we worked on that research project together. Anyway, he probably never cared to tell you this, but the House of Dana is where Alhatham and I first met. I came here to do my homework, and saw him sitting by himself next to that row of bookshelves. A group of Haravatat scholars were chatting near him, but he looked as if he was too lazy to join them. There was a pretty stark difference between him and all the rest of them. It was my fault for feeling bad for him. I thought he must have gotten into some kind of trouble and went over to ask if he needed anything, not realizing that...
Not realizing that you were in fact the one in a whole heap of trouble?
Alhatham? Why are you here?
The House of Dana is a public space.
But shouldn't you be at the records room at this hour?
You think I would derive amusement from watching you fall into depression over your life's various troubles? I came here to pick up a few files. If your voice hadn't managed to get through my soundproof ear...
All right. I admit I was probably overreacting just now. Probably not when he's right here with us.
There was nothing embarrassing or shameful about it. When I was still a student at the academia, I once collaborated with Kaveh on a research project. A collaboration is usually beneficial for all parties. We had a number of differences, and they remain unresolved even today. The more important question is...
As a senior scholar, isn't it my responsibility to offer my friend a quick tour and explanation?
I see. Then let me guess. Your next stop will be the pavilions around Razan Garden? Oh, and Kaveh, a lot of the books you annotated have been moved to the innermost section of that bookshelf over...
Huh? But why would you know that? Don't tell me you finally had an epiphany.
Sure, if that will give you some... Leave any words of thanks you may have to the ex-Grand Conservator. The last time he was here, he was complaining that he had received reports from current students. As a result, the books you annotated...
What? But all of my annotations were extremely important. Instead of reporting me, they should have been thanking me for my service. The notes that I took? Okay, just you wait. I'm going to fix this right now. I'll dig all the books out and return them to the proper shelves.
Oh, we'll wait. Anyway, you were about to say he's feeling a bit down? Put through the ringer. What an interesting phrase. He probably did suffer quite a bit, that's true. He always spends a lot of time editing, but the satisfaction of one client will not translate to general satisfaction with his work. Many problems in life can only be solved by a fundamental change of attitude. There are plenty of architects in Sumeru who are inferior to him in skill, yet far more irascible in temperament. What's more, there are plenty of people who look up. Clearly, his predicament is inevitable, since he holds a... Of course, each person is different, and we should respect the path. Admonitions will serve no purpose. People tend to succumb to familiar pitfalls, and this is especially true for those who believe it's their duty to carry more burden.
Looks like you were having an enjoyable chat while I was gone.
What do you think?
What else is there to talk about? Surely no one would be interested in talking about the files that you were... Anyway, you should take a look at this. Look at this comment on page 82. Dear Kaveh, thank you so much for annotating this book. See that? Now that's how a student
And it looks like you're already in a much better mood now.
Me? Happy? I'm mocking that retired blockhead for being so full of himself. He understands nothing about the true beauty of architecture.
Why don't you just move all the books yourself? It's not like he hasn't cursed you out before. What was that? Kaveh had a habit of scribbling and writing in all kinds.
Hey! You didn't need to bring that up. Oh, actually, I also found a really old sketch in one of the books over there. See? Huh?
Don't ask me. This is the time you specifically put aside to brag about yourself.
You? In that case, allow me to explain. Although this...
We can also plainly see that the designer was a huge fan of this project. It's the project he...
If I don't keep bringing up the neat projects that I've done, how would anyone know that I was the one who did them in the... There shouldn't be any complaints about Port Ormos. If I remember correctly, the construction process was very smooth.
There are indeed no records of any complaints.
See? What did I... Come on, let's take a stroll through Port Ormos next. I'll tell you all about...
No need. It's almost time to clock out for the day, and I don't intend...
Suit yourself. It's not like you know how to appreciate artistry. Port Ormos. No, I didn't design any one specific building. Most Port Ormos had already existed since I was still a young child. It wasn't as large as it is now, though. The arch bridge over there, for example. That was one of my designs. When I was first tasked with the project, I decided to reference the growth patterns of nearby trees to split Port Ormos. We ran into a lot of issues during construction, but thankfully, residents can now behold all the ships entering and leaving the harbor from the vantage point of the bridge, while visitors can recognize... I was still young and new to the trade back then. I could hardly believe that an idea in my head could become reality. The true cornerstone of the creative process. The point about the design that will be ultimately used to judge its true worth. Once built, a building will continue to stand. Countless people will see it, and countless more will step inside it. Its final worth, whether it's good or bad. You think so? I'm glad to hear that. My budget was tight, and I was unable to use the higher quality timber I had originally intended for the design. I knew that some concessions on aesthetics would be... Us creative types know better than anyone that most projects cannot be completed without a few regrets. Even the Palace of Alcazarzare was not... Yeah, you're right. I should learn to look toward... We've spent long enough here. There's still one last place I want to go, but it's a little far. Great. Most of my projects over the last few years have had something to do with the desert. Partially because there's a special place there that This is a rare opportunity, so why don't you come along and see it for yourself? If you ever feel down, maybe you'll be able to go there and... Who would have thought that so many primal constructs could have congregated here while I was... We won't be able to sit and talk peacefully with these guys around. Scanning!
Teamwork is dreamwork! Take flight! Sakura swirl! Let me scry! Whirling snow!
Isn't this place great? I often come here to clear my mind when I'm dealing with You know what I mean. Everyone finds themselves... Just take me as an example. My family life got shaken up quite a bit when I was young. I struggled in school, and I got into a huge pile. Although Alhaitham thinks that it's because of my personality that I continue to live in the shadow of the past, I think it's also just a part of. You could probably say I followed in the path of my mother. Like her, I've gained a name for myself as an architect, built something that's seen as my magnum opus. Life is too boring when you live with no enthusiasm and passion. Only those who believe in the inherent meaning of it can capture the... Of course, I will concede that loving something also means taking it to heart. So to an extent, caring is... But still, isn't this place beautiful? Despite the erosion from the winds, with different landforms come different architectural styles. The desert's history has left it with few records. The sight here has moved me ever since the first time I laid my eyes on it. I told my pain will one day fade into nothing, just as I've reached the end of my life. They are far more valuable than most materialistic things, and far more durable than human flesh. As long as there remain souls in the world. If you were to ask me what art is, you think so? Remember that question I brought up before? The one about whether I should see art as a divine gift of inspiration from the gods. I still haven't found an answer to that yet. But if art wasn't, those who pursue art will be unable to avoid the pain that it naturally brings. Will often be... I'll try gathering my thoughts again once I've found a way to define... In any case, thank you. Taking this commission was truly the worst decision. Oh, hey. I wasn't expecting to run in. Actually, while we're on that, what are you doing here at the tavern? Don't listen to anyone who says that drinking... stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine in a glass of juice, coming right...
I know you're already keeping a secret from that guy, though. Another glass, please.
You've got it, sir.
It really is every other, but perhaps getting used. I would spend a lot of... I suppose, though, all of this makes...
Here's your drink.
Boss?
The meaning of... Anyway, I don't know.
What do you think? Yes, art. Let's say that I built a... The problem is that it can be very... Sounds great to me. A different career. I think I've heard a saying somewhere before. 80% of a working adult... It's just a saying, of course, but even I will admit that my... And if I want to make Mora, I should finish that ridiculous commission. But hold on. I just remembered that I used to have a senior classmate by the name of Alkami. If memory serves me right, maybe I'll be able to get some advice from him. Yeah,
Kaveh, it's you! It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time, Alkami. Things haven't changed much for me.
I heard that you were the genius behind the Palace of Alcazazare.
Well, it's
hard to make a profit. You've got to be joking. Unless the client fled before they paid the commission fee in full. But that doesn't sound right either. Doesn't Dory have a pretty...
Well,
I understand. Either way, doing one project after another I mean, I obviously never had your reputation to live up to. That must have been stressful. But I'm sure we've faced all the same problems. Trying to keep your client in a... not exact. Judging from the look on your face, you're still strapped for Mora. That's quite unfortunate. You're the most... With that said, us Kasharawar grads should still look out for each other. What if I told...
Are you serious? But something like that has got to be some kind of top-level business secret. Besides, I don't want to just take something like that without offering anything in return.
Oh, you're too kind. This is just a simple tip. Even if I didn't bring it up, I'm sure you'd hear it from the... Compared to the classes taught by those old fossils at the academia, my classes are more condensed and streamlined. Unlike the academia, I won't turn down anyone who's interested, rich or poor. As long as someone wishes to learn. It just so happens that I'm still looking for a few more instructors. So, regardless of the pay, I can already guarantee that it'll be far more...
So you want me to join you as an instructor? What do you think, Traveler?
Then it's a deal.
Yes, it's a deal.
Like I said, there's no need to thank me for this. The lecture... As for the pay...
300,000? Are you...
It would seem that you're still oblivious to your own economic worth. 300,000 is also just the base rate. Just trust me on this. The longer you stick with me, the more you'll come to understand your true value. I have to go make some preparations now.
I was never particularly close with Alkami when we were in school. Who would have thought that he'd be so... I've hosted free lectures before, but this would be my first time being hired to lecture for a formal business. 300,000 Mora per Thanks so much. I think Now, what should I talk about tomorrow? Some lessons I've learned over the past few years? All right. Let's meet here again tomorrow morning. I should hurry home and create some kind of lesson plan. If I'm going to become an instructor, I should make sure I show up prepared.
A blade embraces its duty. As a jeweler cherishes their gems.
I didn't expect you to...
I was up last night preparing for the lecture, but I ended up getting so excited that I couldn't fall asleep. Here.
Lesson plan? But the training center has already developed its own set of teaching materials. Instead of using your own plan, you can just use what we have here. Sure. It's almost time for the lecture to start. Feel free to head in and...
So you've already developed your own set of teaching materials. Seems like I won't need this. There's something else I want to ask, though. This isn't going to be a...
no need to stress. There are 14 classes at my training center. Out of all of them, the first class has the best grades.
20 people,
Oh, and one last thing. In the interest of keeping a quiet learning space, only instructors and students are... I'm sorry to say this, but your friend will have to wait outside while you teach the class.
Sorry about that. I'll...
Did you hear? Alkami
I bet that'll be...
Really makes you jealous, eh? If you think about it, Alkami was never that talented himself as an architect.
That's true, but you've got to admit, his advertisements are really effective. After all, the academia only admits those that can pass it. For those who can't pass the exam, or who just want to jump straight into the industry, the training's—
Man, to have that kind.
Hey there. Can I help you? Oh, Alkami? You mean that rich guy who's been making quite the— I heard he earned a fortune working as a renowned architect. Now he's— if the tuition wasn't sky high, I'd enroll—
All right, every class is over, so we can just chat for a bit. I shouldn't have—
No, you weren't scary at all, Mr. Kaveh. We—
Oh, don't get me started. I was trying to use Alkami's materials. Alkami may fool an amateur, but he can't fool anyone who's active in our profession. The materials he made are completely useless for teaching real art. In my opinion, the most important skill of an architect is their ability to craft. There are tens of thousands of buildings in the world, as well as a countless number of architectural styles. Some designs emphasize aesthetic. The architects who can critically evaluate the quality and fit of different designs are those who can come up with great designs of their own. All these students are doing in class is rote memorization of existing designs. They are learning nothing. How can they expect to become real architects? When they're done with this class, all they'll become are dilettantes with a—
But, Mr. Kaveh, we didn't really understand. What's the big deal anyway? It's not like we're looking to make some works.
You're studying architecture to—
Yeah! Why else? My biggest dream is to become someone like Mr. Alkami. Once I—
Huh. In that case, I'm afraid you'll probably be disappointed. The reality is—
But how? Mr. Alkami just told— He also said that as long as we graduate from his class, waves upon waves of people will reach out to us with private It won't be long before I can put these
Come on.
But, Mr.
You— It's pointless trying to argue this with— Let's go, Traveler. Let's hear about
What's wrong, Kaveh? You look quite flustered. Were the students not astute enough for your liking? I must implore you to go a bit easier on them. After all, they're nothing like the genius scholars you're used to dealing with.
Yeah, I'm mad at them. But I'm even more upset that you're The students are all here hoping for a quick way to make money. But we both know that an architect's life is hard and exhausting. If your client is unhappy, you can't break ground. And the longer a project goes, the longer it takes for you to get paid in full. What's worse, if your client you know all of this just as well as—
Look, Kaveh, you may deny it all you want, but it's a fact that in today's Sumeru, our clients care very little for the effort we pour into our designs. Instead of appreciating us, they spend all their time— Why should we cling on to a profession that's difficult and unrewarding? If the field is dying, if it's near impossible to make money as an architect, then why not just establish—
Wait, how does that make any sense?
We are already stuck, my friend. The more people we can lead into this pit and stack as padding beneath— That's right. Making money as an architect is a slow and agonizing process. None of the students will ever know, however. In their eyes, all of my income was earned during my years as an architect. It's easy for them to fall for my promise. The more students I get, the more money I earn.
And then what? Once they graduate, they'll still find out the truth about architecture and struggle to stay afloat amid all the problems. When that happens, your facade will pop like a soap bubble.
But that's just one way to look at the problem. No two people have the same amount of talent, even if they fail to strike gold in the future. Oh, and also, I never actually promised that they would achieve financial freedom as long as they become architects. I'm not even scared if they do come back and stir up trouble. My training center has all the required permits and certifications.
How can you sleep at night knowing that you're doing all this? I can't believe that I once saw you as a decent human being.
And the same goes to you. How many years has it been since you graduated from the academia? If you only fools will see art as revered and sacred. In the end, I urge you to think about what I've said. Often, as the light of the Ksharawar, you've accumulated plenty of fame and respect. Think it over, Kaveh.
I'm so mad, I feel a headache coming on. There's nothing more. Of course. I'm sure you've realized that as long as I remained at this center, he would be able to use my name to advertise this place. Even if I just sit... He is right about one thing, though. These kinds of training centers are everywhere. And even if the academia was to find out about it, it's the most that they could accuse him of is false advertising. And even that would be... Oh? Did you notice something else? Yeah. The rate he gave me was 300,000 mora per lecture. That probably came out of the students' tuition. And if you're gambling everything on making it rich as an architect, are you really going to have the mora to pay for that kind of... Right. We should hurry. The students didn't believe a word I was telling them. We're never going to get any information from them again if we let Alkami talk to them first. Let's move...
Oh, Mr.
Class finished a while ago, but you're still...
I wanted to stay for a little longer. I'm still thinking about everything you taught during the class.
Of course they were. All the examples I drew were world-famous landmarks. It's a good thing that you could recognize them for their beauty. The accumulation of knowledge is the first step to artistic expression, instead of rote memorization.
Resin?
Yes. When I first got into architecture, there were many things about it that I couldn't understand. And for most people, just being able to admire a building is enough. To become a good... Going from admiration to assessment will take a lot of time and specialized knowledge. And I'm afraid that some...
Just as I thought.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to crush your dreams. All I want to tell you is...
I understand. Thank you for telling me the truth, Mr. Kaveh. Sorry. I can't say anything more. Mr. Alkami made it...
Don't listen to him. I am the most famous architect in Sumeru.
Really?
Why would I pull your leg? I can see you have some talent. So as long as you get your fundamentals down...
Then please keep this a secret for me. Mr. Alkami was the one who reached out to my parents. He told them that he knew a merchant by the name of... He told all the students that once we graduate, people would come flocking to commission us for projects. If everything went well, we'd be able to pay off every...
How much did your family...
I think...
And what was the interest...
I'm not really sure. My parents were the ones who signed the contract.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling too. We need to find that merchant to confirm. But if we were to confront him right... Good idea. Hey, tell me...
We last saw him on the north shore of Port Ormos.
Well, it'd still be worth taking a look. Architecture... We need to do something before the students...
Oh. I don't think I've ever seen you.
You're Fahar, right?
Yes.
Alkami. My friend here wants to enroll in his architecture class, but they're a bit short on money. Alkami told us you're the man to...
Oh, sounds like his business is booming.
Let me see.
Oof. You call that a bit short on money? Anyway, since you're here because of Alkami, I can work things out for you. Make sure you sign the contract, though. Lots of people are borrowing money from me nowadays. Here you go. Don't worry, there's nothing particularly unusual.
And what if they won't be able...
What do you mean, won't be able to pay it back? Once you graduate from Alkami's place, you'll be making millions of mora a year. And even if you were to run into some difficulties and need to delay the installments, it's no big deal. We're all reasonable people here. If you can't pay quickly, you can just pay it back over a longer period. All that would change is your interest rates would get a little higher. It's hard work running a business. If we're taking risks to supply you with mora, it's only fair that Anyway, there's no point in tying yourself in knots over the contract. With the way you're reading every single line, it's like you're worried you're about to get scammed out of your whole life savings. Why would I lie to you? Tons of students at Alkami's place have signed the contract.
I just did some calculations in my head. When you say the interest, of course the contract did a great job of trying to obfuscate that fact. It only listed the amount that you'll have to repay every day, which gives the false impression that the amount hasn't. If you actually do the math, however, it's clear that the amount you need to pay on interest alone will amount to hundreds of thousands of mora per year. Most people can't even make that much mora in a year. Even my creditor doesn't dare to raise rates that high. Once a family signed on to a scheme like this, there's—
What are you trying to say, huh? I figured something was off when two well-dressed people came look. Too many people are sticking their noses where they don't belong these days. Luckily for me, the—
Eremites? I've already fought off more than my fair share of them. There are only a few of them, so they shouldn't pose much of a threat.
Think you can get away? Take flight! Ha! Ha! Yeah!
Who are you? And I don't think we've done anything to hurt or offend you. So why go this far to destroy—
Debt has the power to upend your whole life. I know, but my debts are the culmination of many different factors, and my interest rate is still somewhat reasonable. But these students are different. They have neither the mental prep— You sold the dreams of becoming an architect to the students as bait, urging them to take on—
Ha! Everyone knows there's no such thing as a free lunch. And if we're going to talk about greed, aren't those students the ones who are blinded by it?
Ha! And here comes the silver tongue. Surely you use that to reel in the students as well. People grow by learning from their mistakes. Let's head back to the academia and turn this guy over to the Matra. Sino?
My vacation just ended not too long ago, so I see. As it is highly likely that Alkami is also benefiting from this scheme. The Matra will open and any funds we manage to recover from the suspects will be returned to the students. It's unclear how—
That should still be enough. Once the students realize the error of their ways. Anyway, thank you for your help. I hope this won't be too much—
It's no trouble. Just another day at work. Did you accept any mora?
He promised to pay me 300,000 mora per lecture, but I resigned as—
That's good.
What do you mean, that's good? Would you have taken—
I wouldn't have gone that far. But, had he insisted that you were also an active participant— Either way, though, I believe you are innocent in all of this. Had you actually been alright with making money
Hey, what was that? What You're just messing with me now.
Let's get back to business. If Alkami's case can be successfully resolved, you'll be eligible for a
Huh. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I never would have guessed. What I'm trying to say is—
The reward will be given regardless of your personal motivations. It was implemented—
Fine.
Is there anything else?
I want to go back to the training center one more time.
Sure. But you should wait until tomorrow. My subordinates will shut down the center today.
All right. Then I'll stay out of their way.
I have a few other things to take care of, so I'll be off for now. If you want to follow—
That should finally be the end of that. Oh, who would have thought it would turn out like— To think Alkami would sink this low. Still, I think I feel a little better now than when you found me back at the town. It's a little ironic, but you could say it's because I've realized that there are many circumstances in the world that are even worse than my own. Now that I've seen such things, how should I put it? I'm pretty stubborn when it comes to the arguments are usually extremely frustrating. And every once in a while, I'd wonder if I only became an architect because fate wanted me to pay for some sin. Alkami's suggestion would have allowed me to quit my life as an architect and earn money solely from my reputation. But now that I've experienced that for myself, I can confidently. Every scholar has their own sense of pride and a line that they don't like to cross. Of course, when faced with the vicissitudes, just speaking for myself though, I don't think that's something I'd ever be able to do. The voice in my heart would just keep. If I stopped devoting everything to my creative activities, I'd be able to lead a more comfortable life. But at that point, any materialistic ease I may have gained in life would just become another form of torment. In comparison, my current life comes with its. I appreciate it. You may call me conceited for this, but I would also like to. It's certainly not easy, but my thanks again for being such a great help throughout all of this. I'm planning to pay another visit to those kids. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
A blade is like a tea leaf. Only those who sample. Would have guessed Mr. Alkami was a scammer.
The training center has been shut down, and the Madra have promised to return some of our tuition.
Mr. Kaveh said we can keep working on our fundamentals. Easier said than done. If it was easier to get into the only the best of the best can get into the Mr.
Why? What?
So.
Huh?
Now, that's Mr. Kaveh to you. I'll keep instructing you for a while longer. You can pass on the message to the other student. Oh, also, I'm usually pretty busy, so I'll only be able to teach architecture fundamentals on my days off. And architecture is not an easy profession. Aesthetics aside, even the base. If you want to design safe buildings, you'll have to go through a systematic study of. And just as a heads up, all of this will be a huge step up from the superficial stuff you were learning before. It'll take both talent and perseverance to get through the course. I don't want to hear any.
We'll try our
It seems some of you. All right, everyone, pack your stuff up. No need to prepare much for today. You'll know once we get there. Come on, let's get going. This lighthouse has been around for a long time, and I handled its renovations when I first graduated from the academia. The point of today is not so much about the lighthouse. I just want you to take a look at it and do a bit of self-reflection. If you were, don't think about how you'd actually go about building it for now. Just put your ideas to paper.
So it can be.
Yep, as long as you think it'd look good. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a building. If you want, you can. In my experience, it's best to approach the study of architecture from a point of both the study and practice of architectural design are extremely difficult. A person who's forced to work on projects that they don't resonate with will only struggle and suffer. So at least for today, I hope the students will be able to create something that they enjoy. There's no need to think about it too hard. They'll have plenty of time. What do you think? Want to try your hand at it as well? Don't forget that this is a free class from Mr. Kaveh.
A blade embraces its duty, as a jeweler cherishes their gems.